Today is day 4 of STAAR review, and we are going to be reviewing how to make predictions from probability. Probability can be used to make predictions for different occurrences by setting up and solving a proportion. So again, today we're continuing to use proportions to solve different types of problems. For example, this question says the probability of rolling a 6 on a number cube is 1/6. If the number cube is rolled 50 times, then approximately how many times will a 6 be rolled? So it tells us our probability is 1/6, so we're going to start with that ratio and then set that up to equal x over our total number of trials, which is 50. Then we can solve this just like any other proportion. I can't go from 6 to 50, so I'm going to cross multiply 1 times 50, which is 50, and then divide by 6. When you do 50 divided by 6, you'll get 8.3 repeating, which means that is what you can predict. You can predict to roll a 6 about 8 times. Let's look at example A. It says a survey showed that 8 out of 20 homeowners in a neighborhood had cable television. If there were 320 homeowners in the neighborhood, how many could be expected to have cable television? So we're doing this similar to how we did proportions on the first day, where we pick our two numbers from the same sentence, and it tells us 8 out of 20. That's our first ratio. We want to know how many out of 320. So that's going to be our new total. So our survey total was 20, but the new total is 320, and we're going to solve for x. You can do this multiple ways. I'm going to go ahead and simplify 8 over 20 to make those numbers smaller. If I simplify 8 over 20, I can divide both of those numbers by 4. 8 divided by 4 is 2, and 20 divided by 4 is 5. So now I can replace 8 over 20 with 4 over 5 and be working with smaller numbers. So now we can either go from 5 to 320, but if you don't know that off the top of your head, we can cross multiply. Starting with 320 times 4. That gives us 1280, and then we have to divide by 5. I'm going to do that over here. 1280 divided by 5 is going to give us 128. So we can predict that 128 of the homeowners would have cable television. Now let's look at example B. This question says, Felix has a bucket of golf balls. The table shows the number of golf balls of each color in the bucket. Felix selects a golf ball at random. Based on the table, which statement is true? So we're going to have to go through all of these answer choices and figure out which one is accurate based off of the table. A says that the golf ball is more likely to be green than all other colors combined. So let's see if that's true. There are 18 green golf balls, and that would have to be greater than all of the other ones combined. So the other colors would be 4 pinks plus 11 whites plus 8 oranges. And if we add all of that together, well, 4 plus 11 is 15, and 15 plus 8 is 23. Well, we can see that 18 is not greater than 23, so that answer choice is not correct. Now let's check B. B says the golf ball is equally likely to be pink, white, orange, or green, which means that all of those colors would have the same number of golf balls. We can see based on the table that they do not all have the same number. They're all different, so that's not the correct answer. C says the golf ball is 2 times as likely to be orange as it is to be pink. So that means that orange has to be equal to 2 times pink. Well, there are 8 oranges, and that would have to be equal to 2 times pink, and there are 4 pinks. Well, 2 times 4 is 8, so that is a true statement. 8 does equal 8. So that's probably our answer, but let's just check D to be sure. D says the golf ball is 7 times as likely to be green as it is to be white. So that means that green has to be equal to 7 times white. When we look at how many greens there are 18 greens, and there are 11 whites. Well, 7 times 11 equals 77, and 18 is not equal to 77, so that's not true, which means our only possible answer choice is C. I know these questions take some work and a lot of reading. However, a lot of you guys were only one question away from getting to that next level, so I promise that it's worth it to at least try. Let's go ahead and look at example C. C says the table shows the number of bottles of different kinds of juice sold at a cafeteria on Monday. If the cafeteria has 80 customers on Tuesday, which prediction for Tuesday is not supported by the table in the data? So first, let's go ahead and figure out what the total number of juices were sold on Monday is. So to do that, to find that total, we're going to add all of the numbers in the table together. So we have 1 plus 7 is 8, plus 8 is 16, plus 4 is 20, and 2 plus 1 is 40. So on Monday, they sold a total of 40 kinds of juice. We want to know out of 80. So let's think about this proportionally. If I want to go from 40 to 80, what would you have to do? Well, you could multiply by 2, which means if we wanted to predict how many of each type of juice was sold on Tuesday, which had a total of 80, all we would have to do is multiply those options by 2. So let's go ahead and do that. For apple, we're going to do 11 times 2, which is equal to 22. For cranberry, we're going to do 7 times 2, which is equal to 14. For orange, we're going to do 18 times 2, which is equal to 36. And for pineapple, we're going to do 4 times 2, which is equal to 8. So now that we have our new numbers, those are the numbers that we're going to use to check our answer choices with. So A says the number of bottles of cranberry juice sold will be 6 more than the number of bottles of pineapple juice sold. So that means that cranberry has to be equal to 6 more, which means 6 plus pineapple. Well, if we look at our new cranberry numbers, cranberry is now at 14, and pineapple is at 8. Well, 6 plus 8 is 14, which is equal to 14. So that's a true statement. We want a not true statement. So that's not going to be our answer. B says the number of bottles of apple juice sold will be 6 times the number of bottles of cranberry juice sold. So that means that apple has to be equal to 6 times cranberry. When we look at apple, we can see that there are 22 bottles sold, and cranberry has 14. Well, just by thinking about that, we know that 6 times 14 does not equal 22, so that is not a true statement. So that's probably going to be an answer. C says there will be a total of 50 bottles of orange and cranberry juice sold. So if we add orange and cranberry together, that should equal 50. Orange had 36, cranberry had 14. 36 plus 14 is 50, which means that is a true statement, and we want to choose false statements. D says the difference between the number of bottles of apple juice sold and the number of bottles of pineapple juice sold will be 14. Difference means to subtract, so that means that apple minus pineapple has to equal 14. Well, we've got 22 apples and 8 pineapples. 22 minus 8 does equal 14, so again, that's a true statement and not our answer. The only not true statement was B. So when you're solving for predictions using probability, make sure you read the question all the way through, pay attention to keywords like not, and use the numbers in the table.